is an overview tutorial for the Kosovo geoprocessing assignment. And in this video, we're going to cover some of the basics of opening the data, which will be different than past assignments. And we're just going to focus on some of the file types and how we're going to deal with those, connecting to those data sources and then exporting. Okay, the first thing I want to do is I'm in ArcMap and I've opened up the software, and I've also downloaded the data for this week, which is Chapter 6 data. I'm going to right click and extract all that data because it comes zipped. And let's take a look at it outside of ArcMap real quick and just inside the folder so we understand what's going on and how it's organized. Okay, so when I open it up, I can see that I have an MXD. It's called GIS HUM, and it's C6E1. And right next to it, instead of a shapefile folder, I now have what's called a .gdb. So this is a geodatabase folder. So if I click on this folder, I can see my geodata, but it doesn't look like a shapefile, and that is because it's what's called a feature class or a feature data set, which is very similar to a shapefile, but it's housed within this thing called a geodatabase. And so we need to understand really what that is. So if I have my folder open, I'm going to throw away my zip folder, empty that out, and then I'm going to go back to ArcMap. And the first thing we need to do is we need to connect now. We're going to connect through ArcCatalog. So sometimes ArcCatalog is over here as a tab on the right hand side, but if not, you can always access it from the main ribbon bar. So you go up to the top and say Catalog. And here we need to point through a folder connection. So as long as I'm on folder connections, I'm going to connect to a folder, and I should be able to see it. It's on my desktop, Chapter 6 data, and then within I see two folders, and it's this Chapter 6 data. That's what I want to be connected to, and I say OK. So once I connect to that folder, I can expand it, and then I can see my MXD and also my geodatabase. Let's go ahead and open up the MXD. We're going to do a double click on the MXD. And as soon as that happens, it connects to the MXD, but we can see that our data is not connected because we have our red exclamation marks. So we know our data is sitting within the geodatabase. So let's expand that out. And we can see within the geodatabase that it's organized in terms of these what are called feature data sets. These are kind of hierarchies that are thematic. And within each hierarchy here, if we click on, say, administrative boundaries, we can see that we have things that pertain to the organization of space in terms of a political boundary. So we have districts, municipalities, towns, and Kosovo at large. Then we have our ERW contaminated areas. That's the actual data that we'll be working with in detail this week. Okay, let's click on that. So we have cluster bomb sites and landmine sites. We have these vegetative areas. We're actually not going to be using the vegetative areas, I believe, for the map that we're going to be producing. So you may just be able to disregard vegetative areas altogether. And we also have a roads layer too. You're not going to necessarily need the roads layer for this first map this week either. So it's really the administrative boundaries in the ERW that we're concerned with. So if we want to work off this MXD, we can do that. We just need to connect to the data. The other option is that if you want to recreate this MXD outside of the one that's prepared for you by the assignment, that's simple to do. You would just bring in cluster bomb sites, Kosovo, municipalities, the landmines, and the districts. So you just bring in these 5 sources, and there's nothing special about this MXD. There's nothing magical about it. You can just recreate it outside of this particular MXD. Let's go ahead and just use this MXD though, and we're going to connect to the data. So I'm just going to do a right click on cluster bomb sites. I'm going to go to Data, Repair the Data Source, and I'm going to point to my folder connections and then my geodatabase. And then cluster bomb sites is going to be under the ERW contaminated areas. So I'll click on cluster bomb sites and say add. And that brings in the data here. Now the cluster bomb sites are symbolized with this triangle, upside down triangle shape. Remember, that's just a points feature behind it. So if we go to Open Attribute Table, we can see that this is just a point. And if we want to, we can re-symbolize that. So we would just go to Properties, and if I just wanted to make it a simple dot, I can easily do that. So I go to Current Symbol, make it a circle. Maybe I'll make it a purple circle, and maybe make it 10, and say Apply. Okay, so that's going to make all those points go away. So don't feel like the symbology here is important for this upcoming week. What we're really interested in this upcoming week is working in the tables of these data sets. Okay, we need to also take a look at the projection system. So the projection system is in meters. So that's a projected coordinate system that's going to allow us to do things that we wouldn't be able to do in a geographic coordinate system or a geocentric system. So that's good that we're in that. Let's take a look and see what that system is. So if we do a right click on cluster bomb sites and go to Properties and go to Source, we can see that there's a very specific type of coordinate system. It's called the Kosovo grid. So we can assume that this particular coordinate system is especially made for Kosovo, and it's very accurate within Kosovo at large. And the linear unit is a meter. So that's great. Now this week you're going to be exporting out some data and doing some table work. And as you do your exports, as you do your what's called geoprocessing, you'll want to be sending your files somewhere. There's really three places that you could send them. And let's talk about those three places and the advantages and disadvantages of each. So I'm just going to collapse this real quickly. And I'm going to make a folder out here in Chapter 6 Data, right next to my MXD and Kosovo geodatabase. And I'm just going to call this this new folder called Shape Exports. Okay, so I have an empty folder called Shape Exports, and since it's within Chapter 6 Data, I'll be able to see it within Arc Catalog. So let's go back to folder connections here, and we'll double click it, and we don't see it right now, so what we need to do is we need to refresh the window to see that, and there's a couple ways to do refreshing. And probably the easiest way is just to simply right click on the folder and say refresh. So when I do that, now I can see my shape exports. So once again, if you're within Arc Catalog and you've done something outside of Arc Catalog and you want to refresh, you just do a right click and say refresh. So there's my shapefile exports. So now if I want to, I can go to cluster bomb sites, say I've done some processing in this file. I could export data, export the data, and then I could navigate to folder connections, Chapter 6 Data, and I can see my shapefile exports. And then I could do it just as a shapefile. We've done this before, and send it out to, let's call it CBS processed. Let's say I did something to it, and I could say save it. And I could bring it in, and there it is. So that's one way to do this, and then I'll be able to see it as a shapefile. The other option is that if you want to create an actual folder within your geodatabase, that's another option. So what we could do is we could go click on our geodatabase and say I want to make a new what's called a featured data set. Okay, so everything here is a featured data set, and what's nice about featured data sets is they give the tables a little bit more functionality, and they organize your layers thematically within the geodatabase nicely. So if I click on featured data set, I could call this exports, and you may have a favorite show up here and show the Kosovo grid. If it doesn't, what you can do is you can go to this little graticule Earth icon over here and say add a coordinate system, and you can import it. So here I would import it from something that's sitting in the Kosovo geodatabase. So let's just go to administrative boundaries, and I would maybe add in districts. And with districts, it sees the projection system that's attached to districts or to any of the geodata in this assignment. And then I can go ahead and say next, 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 and finish it. And now everything that's in exports, if I go to properties, I'm going to be able to see that it's in the Kosovo grid. So I'm giving myself a safeguard by establishing the feature data set coordinate system to be something that's going to be consistent with the assignment. I could say, okay, now let's export out to exports folder. So here I would go back to cluster bomb sites and say I've done something. Now I'm going to export the data. Here I can go ahead and point it to folder connections, chapter 6, and whoop, let me get to folder connections. Here it's only going to see the folder. But what's important, the reason that it's only seeing the folder here is because, see, we have a save type as shapefile. It's only going to see places where I can send the shapefile. Now if I change this export here to be a feature class, all of a sudden my geodatabase shows up. Okay, so we switched it from shapefile and we went now to what's called a feature class. Now I have access to the geodatabase. So if I click on that, now I could go to exports, click on exports, and now I could send it out in as a feature class. Okay, so let's try that. So now we're going to go here, and I'm going to call this CBS processed. I'm just going to call it feature DS for feature data set here, and I'll say save and say OK. And then I can export to the map. So here it actually shows it now as a feature data class, very much like the other things that are within my working MXD. And if I go to properties, I can see it looks very similar to a shapefile. It's just that the actual type is now what's called a geodatabase feature class. Okay, another option that we can do in terms of exporting is we can also go out to the default geodatabase. So if I click on cluster bomb sites and I say data, export the data, if I want to just go to the system's default geodatabase, that's another option, is I can do that. And here I would just say, I'm going to call this CBS underscore default as the default geodatabase. Let's try that. And here I can send it as a shapefile if I want to, but again, it's not going to let me in there. If I want to send it just as a feature class, that's when I can get into the default geodatabase, and I'd save it and say OK. So you have a few places that you can send things this week, depending on if you just want the shapefile alone in a folder or if you want to have it actually within a geodatabase. It's going to be okay to process either way this upcoming week, but I want to point this out. Just if you want to have consistency in terms of where all your data is stored within a geodatabase, which frankly I would suggest doing this week, make yourself a folder called exports or a class, a feature class called exports, and send all your data there. Okay. In terms of saving the MXD that you're working, so if we just go to File and say Save As we're working along, we can simply save over what we've named it. So we'd save it and say Replace it. And that's going to update the instance of our working within the MXD. So hopefully this is helpful in understanding where the data is located, how to connect to the data, and how to also export. So again, you can export to geodatabases, or you can export out to a folder. You're going to get a little bit more performance if you're sending it out to a geodatabase, and if you're getting errors, I really would suggest doing that. One last thing. When we're in this format, which is called list by source, so right under table of contents, you'll see different icons up here. If we click on list by source, that's going to show us where all our data is located relative to where it's coming from. So here on the bottom, we can see it's a shapefile. It's coming from a folder. Whereas here on top, we can see that everything's within the geodatabase. The problem here is that you can't move layers up and down. And if you want to be moving layers up and down, especially for the final part of your assignment where you're organizing your layers for your thematic mapping, what you can do is you can click on the list by drawing order, and that's going to give you a much more simplified view of your data and table of contents, and you can go ahead and push these files up and down the hierarchy, the map hierarchy as you need to. Okay, so here I put districts on top and everything's going to go away. So just in case you're getting stuck in terms of trying to push things up and down in terms of the table of contents, click on list by drawing order as opposed to list by source, and that should help you out.